All right, so we are still going to be working with the volume of prisms and cylinders. So formulas, you had these written down on your notes yesterday, but if you want to write them down on your paper somewhere at the bottom maybe, or if you want to dig out your notes from yesterday, that might be helpful. Because we will have to refer to these formulas over and over again, okay? So remember that when you're working with a rectangular prism or a triangular prism, you can rearrange your numbers and it doesn't necessarily have to go in a specific order and you should still get the same answer. But when you're working with a cylinder, you have to put the correct numbers in the correct location. Okay, so with question number 1, the Asano Taiko Company of Japan built the world's largest drum in 2000. So a drum would be what of the 3 shapes? A cylinder. So we're working with a cylinder. The drum's diameter is 4.8 meters. And its height is 4.95 meters. Estimate the volume of the drum. Okay, so we first have to calculate capital B. Okay, so we need to calculate capital B. Do you use a diameter with that? What do you have to get? You have to get a radius. So our radius is 2.4. So capital B equals pi r squared. So pi times 2.4 squared. Okay, so what is 2.4 squared?
5.76.
Okay, so now we're going to take 3.14 times 5.76.
Is it B still?
Yeah. And you get 18.0864. Okay, now what do I do with that number? What have I not used yet? The height. I have to take that times the height. So my volume will be 18.0864 times 4.95. Multiply those.
89.52.
768.
Okay, so 89.527. So if I were to round to the 10th, I would have 89.5 meters. And then what do I always have to put with volume? A cube.
Could we round from 18.084?
You could round on your paper, but I would keep that number in your calculator.
Okay.
Because if you were to cut it off and then in your calculator type back in 18.08, you're probably going to get slightly different of an answer.
Where'd you get 2.4?
Divided the diameter by 2 to get the radius. Because radius is half diameter. Like halfway across the circle.
And half of that circle is 2.4.
Because it's 4.8.
Yeah.
Is the radius.
All right, so next, a drum company advertises a snare drum that is 4 inches high and 12 inches in diameter. So diameter equals 12, height equals 4. Estimate the volume. So first thing I'm going to have to do is get a radius. So the radius is 6. So capital B equals pi times 6 squared. So 6 squared is 36. 36 times 3.14.
113.
Okay. And then I need to take that number times what?
And 4.
Times the height, which is 4. So the volume would be
452.16.
and then that is inches cubed. Okay, on number 3, we are figuring out the volume from a picture. This is called a composite figure. So what a composite figure is when you take two shapes and put them together. So like this would be, you could call it like a house or a barn. You have here in the bottom would be the rectangular prism, and then the roof would be the triangular prism put together. Okay, to create like a barn. And we're gonna find the volume of this. So let's look at the rectangular prism first. So if you look at your pictures, what 3 numbers do you think are gonna go with the rectangular prism? Yes.
6, 3, and 5.
Okay, so 3's this number right here.
Oh.
Does that have anything to do with the rectangle? No.
So 6, 9, and 5.
Yes. So these are the numbers we're going to put with the rectangular prism. And then the triangular prism, we have to have 3 numbers for it too. Yes.
3 and 6.
Okay, so 3 and 6 are going to be, this is 6 right here. So we're going to use 3, we're going to use 6,
5.
And then you could use 9.
and we're going to use 9 because that's 9 right there.
Oh, I thought 5 was 5.
Okay, so now let's calculate these. So the volume of the rectangular prism, so it doesn't matter what order you put them in, so you're gonna have 6 times 9, which is what?
54.
54. And then I have to take that times the number I didn't use yet,
So 5.
5.
270. 270.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say 170.
So now the volume of the triangular prism. So capital B equals 1/2 3 times 6.
18.
So 3 times 6 is 18. So half of 18 is 9.
162.
And then we multiply by 9. 9 times 9. I don't know how you got that. Now, what do you think I need to do with the 2 numbers, the 2 volumes? Add them together. We're putting the roof on top of the house, so we're adding them together. So 270 plus 81.
351.
So 351 centimeters cubed. Okay, I want you guys to try number 4. So you're going through the same process, but you need to decide what 3 numbers go with the rectangle, what 3 numbers go with the triangle.
What are we doing?
Fixing my clock. Okay, so for the rectangle, the three numbers that I would use would be 40, 50, and 15. So remember that for either of these, just because if you didn't put them in the same order as me, don't erase, you should end up with the same answer in the end, even if you didn't choose the same order that I did. Okay, so so if I do capital B equals 40 times 15, I get capital B equals 600. And then my volume would be 600 times 50, which is 30,000. Okay, and then for my triangular prism, I'm working with 10, 40, and 50. So capital B equals 1/2, and then I use 40 times 10. So that ends up being 200. And then my volume would be 200 times 50, which is 10,000. So even if you put your numbers in a different order, hopefully you still ended up with 30,000 and 10,000. And then I need to combine them together. So my volume would be 40,000 feet cubed.
Is that inside?
Around about the one thing.
Dang, that's big.
Yes.
Cause ain't like most average houses like 1,000 or something.
More than that, probably. Around 2,000. Well, it depends.
Dang.
Should be 1,000 square foot house is pretty tiny.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, number 5, we're finding the volume of this composite figure. Somebody yesterday said this looked like a washing machine
It kind of does. It looks like
or like a
sink.
stove.
Or a sink.
Yeah.
Looks like one of those sinks with the backs.
So anyways, I never looked at it like that it looked like a stove or a washing machine. But, okay, so we are going to have to calculate the top and the bottom separately. What kind of shapes are both of these?
No, one's a rectangle and one's a square.
Well, they're both technically rectangular prisms because a square would still be a rectangular prism. So there's a larger one and a smaller one. So if I work with the larger one, so this is kind of confusing, but this is 6 right here. So therefore this would have to be 6 right here. And this is not a very good picture at all. Like it's not a very good scaled picture, but this would also have to be 6.
So every side would be 6.
Along the bottom here, yes. So for the larger rectangle, I need to take 6, capital B would equal 6 times 6.
36.
So 36, and then what other number would I use with that? 9. So my volume would be 36 times 9. Okay, 324. So then if I work with the smaller rectangular prism, what 3 numbers am I using?
6, 1.
6, 1, and 4. So capital B could equal 6 times 1. which equals 6, and then my volume would be 6 times 4,
24.
which is 24.
And then you add them up.
And then I need to put them together. So my volume would actually be what?
348
348 centimeters
squared.
cubed. Okay. Number 6. This is a what and a what?
Cylinder
Cylinder and a rectangular prism. Both of those together. Okay, so let's do the rectangular prism first. So what 3 numbers are going with that?
There's
Four.
4 numbers.
8. Oh, wait,
8
rectangle.
and 14.
12, 8, and 14 go with the rectangle. So right here, 12, 8, 14. So capital B could equal 12 times 14, or you could start it a different way. So you would get 168. And then for my volume, I have to take 168 times the number I didn't use yet, which is 8. So my volume for that would be 1,344. Okay, now the cylinder, it matters what number I put where. So for the cylinder, which one is my radius? 4, according to the picture, is pointing to half of the circle.
I thought
So
that
then it'd
was
be 4 times 4.
So B equals pi times 4 squared. So 4 squared is what?
16 times 3.
So 16 times 3.14,
Shouldn't there be one half?
50.24.
that's a triangle.
50.24.
50.24. Okay, so I'm going to take that times the number I didn't use for the cylinder yet, which is 8.
Times 8.
And then what do you get?
401.9.
Okay, and then what do I have to do with them?
Add them.
Add the two totals together.
It's 1,745.92.
And this is feet cubed. Okay, now we're gonna get a little more challenging here.
So, like,
Looks like a ramp, so what 2 shapes are these?
triangle and the right.
Triangular and rectangular prism, okay? So first, let's calculate the rectangular prism.
5, 12.5.
And 11.
Yeah.
Correct, because this is also 11 right here. So 5, 12.5, and 11. So capital B, we could take 12.5 times 11. You should get 137.5. And then what's the third number for the rectangle? Times 5. 137.5 times 5.
You'll get 687.5.
Okay. All right. So now for the triangle,
13, 11, and 12.
we're going to use 13, 11, and 12. Does anybody agree or disagree? What is 13 pointing to?
I don't know.
Yes.
It's
We're gonna use the 5, 12, and 11.
I agree with you.
What?
So the 5, this would be 5 right here on the triangle. Okay. This 13 is pointing to the hypotenuse or that ramp side. That's not your base or your height. That's your hypotenuse of your triangle. It is irrelevant in this problem. So you're actually going to use 5, 12, and 11. So for the triangle, I'm going to take 1 1/2, and then I would do 5 times 12. Okay, so what is 5 times 12?
Or
60 times half,
30.
30. And then for my volume, I'm gonna take 30 times the number I didn't use yet, 11.
and 30.
So I get 330. And then I need to add them together.
1,000.
20.5 feet cubed.
I got 17.
I got 17.
Okay. All right, number 8. What are these shapes?
Squares. And
I hate
rectangles.
Rectangular prisms, cubes, which still are technically rectangular prisms. Okay, so we need to calculate let's do the larger rectangle on the bottom.
5, 15, 10.
So we're gonna use 5, 15, and then 10 is actually this whole entire side.
Oh,
How do
So
we
it'd be
figure out
5.
this little side?
it'd be 5.
5, because 10 minus 5 would be 5. Okay, so for capital B, I could take 5 times 5 and get 25, and then I would have to take 25 times 15. To get 375?
Yeah.
Okay, so now look at the cubes on top. So they're 5, 5. What would this little side right here be?
5.
It would be 5. What would this be?
5.
No, that would be, yeah, it would be 5.
So this would be 5, 5, and 5 right here.
Yeah.
So basically, we have a 5 by 5 by 5 cube.
So
2 of
This
them.
isn't all
Oh,
5.
25.
So
No.
5 times 5 is 25,
Times 5.
and my volume would be 25 times 5,
125.
which is 125. Now that's one of them. What should I do?
Times it by 2.
Double it, because I have 2 of them.
250.
Okay, and then I need to add my numbers together.
5 times, no.
625.
Okay, so 625 feet cubed. Okay, so the very last picture is the hardest one yet.
Can we skip it?
We're not gonna skip it. What 3 shapes do we have here?
Triangle.
Triangle.
2 rectangles.
Triangular prism and 2 rectangular prisms. So,
What? It's confusing.
okay, this is confusing, but you kind of have to use it like a puzzle and figure out what. Okay, so let's look at this bottom rectangle. You're going to use 17,
5 and 5.
and then you're going to use 5 and 5 right here. So capital B could equal 5 times 5, which is 25.
17.
And then you're going to have to take 25 times 17.
425.
Okay? So now let's look at the cube.
It's just gonna be 5 times 5 again.
5, 5, 5 again. Because this side is 10. Take half of that out, it's 5.
It's 125.
And then this is 5. Where are we getting the third 5 from?
Because it's like
Right here, the width is also 5. Okay, I agree.
So it's the same as the last one.
So it's the same as we just figured out. What's a 5 by 5 by 5 cube?
125.
125. Yeah, work smarter, not harder, right? Okay, so then for the triangle, what are our 3 numbers with the triangle?
5, 9, 17, 12.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So we have to get this length right here. So we have to take 5 minus 17, the other way around.
12.
Excuse me. So this would be 12.
Times 5,
This width of the triangle would be 5.
times 5.
And what's the height of the triangle right here? 5. Is the 13 relevant?
No, it's the,
No, it's the
that,
ramp.
the.
Again, the
magnitude.
13 is like the length of the ramp, not relevant.
Or
So
12.
1/2 times 5 times 12 would equal what?
30.
30. And then I have to take 30 times 5.
150.
Okay. So then last but not least, what do I have to do with all of these?
Add
everything up.
7.
And I'm gonna get 700 feet
Huge.
cubed.
That was easy.
You was wrong.
Okay, so for your assignment today, I would like you to label this page 270, number 2, because this is the second page 270 assignment that you have had. Can I check your homework from yesterday first?